I think that is the scene, especially with us knowing that they thought about putting it in Fantastic Four First Steps, the post-credit scene of learning that Steve is... Hey everybody, Colton here, and in this one we have a question from Collin. Collin writes, with Avengers Endgame being re-released in theaters before Avengers Doomsday, do you think they will add an extra scene to the movie to set up Doomsday? Could this get the movie over $3 billion? And what do you think that scene will be? All right, great question, Collin. So yeah, Avengers Endgame is being re-released in theaters, I think in October, so about 2 months before Doomsday comes out. We've, I said before this report came out that I think Doomsday is going to serve as a direct sequel to Endgame, but then that report actually came out after that saying, yes, Doomsday serves as a direct sequel to Endgame. And when they announced that they were putting it back in theaters for before Doomsday comes out, many began to speculate, okay, could we see like a post-credit scene or something attached to Doomsday that is a tease, a setup for Avengers Doomsday? That, to your point about the 3 billion, could that, and I do want to talk about what I think the scene could be, because I think the answer is yes. But really quick, to address your 3 billion question, Endgame is sitting at like 2.83 or 89 billion or something. It's very, very close. I think about 2.8 billion. Let me look. I had it pulled up. All right. Yeah, 2.799 billion, 2.8 billion. Can it make $200 million in its re-release? If they market the hell out of it and say, and stay tuned for exclusive new scenes that are in the movie, or an exclusive post-credit scene, and like they let everybody know, hey, you're going to want to go see Endgame again because there are new scenes in the movie. There are new scenes in the movie or a post-credit scene. 200 million? To get it to 3? I don't know, man. 200, that's a tall order for a movie that's been out for a long time, like 6 or 7 years, and that is readily available, on Disney Plus. I don't know, man. Maybe. Now, as far as what I think the scene will be, I'm leaning toward thinking it's going to be a post-credit scene. I don't know that they would actually make edits to the movie to include a new scene in Endgame, but that would be pretty cool. Either way, whether it's an integrated scene or a post-credit scene, I think what they do is have it work for the movie itself, which is, what's one of the loose ends in the movie? Loki. Loki disappears with the Tesseract, and we never get that followed up. They don't even reference it again. We don't get any of that brought up again until the Loki series. If we see Steve Rogers returning the stones, if they actually show him traveling through the quantum realm, returning the stones, and then him living that life with Peggy. And by the way, spoiler warning, this is being reported everywhere, but spoiler warning if you don't want to know anything about Doomsday. But it's being reported that in Doomsday, we will see Loki move Steve Rogers, Carter, and their kid to the Fantastic Four 828 universe. That Peggy, Steve, and their kid will be moved from that branch timeline that Steve created over into Universe 828, the Fantastic Four universe, and that in the Fantastic Four movie, Steve Rogers was there. R616 Steve Rogers and Peggy and their kid were there during that movie, like hiding in the shadows or whatever. And there was even a report that there was a cut post-credit scene for Fantastic Four First Steps, not the Doctor Doom one, but one that would feature Chris Evans. And remember, at the time, a lot of people were thinking, oh, well, is it him as Human Torch? Are they going to have fun there? No, it was apparently the Fantastic Four going to Steve's house and recruiting him for help with this multiverse, whatever that's happening, this multiverse disaster that's happening. Now, the report is that Loki moves them there to save them. He wants to help them. That either that timeline is going to be pruned by the TVA or it's about to be destroyed or whatever. And he wants to help Steve out, He knows that maybe that timeline has to go to save like the mainline MCU or whatever. So Loki's either, and see, that's where it gets complicated. Is it him when he's on the throne, or is it him like at some other point that we just never saw in Loki? I don't know. I tend to think maybe it'd be the throne. And he's trying to do Steve a solid and save him, save Peggy, save their kid, and save the mess that Steve made by creating that alternate timeline. Moves him over to a different universe where he doesn't even exist, I guess, and he can live there. And perhaps theoretically that causes no issues. You would think it would cause issues because the presence of someone who's not from that universe being there, we have been taught that that is can cause an incursion. But I guess we'll address that. They'll address that in the movie, maybe, if they even bother to. But I think that is the scene, especially with us knowing that they thought about putting it in Fantastic Four First Steps, the post-credit scene of learning that Steve is in their universe. I could see them having perhaps decided we're going to save that for the Endgame re-release. And we could actually see the scene of Loki tying up that connection of that setup in Endgame where he escapes with the Tesseract, and having Loki like inform Steve of what's going on, how they played with time, and how, you know, all this stuff has happened, and that he just needs Steve to listen. And it introduces to the wider audience who maybe didn't see Loki that Loki's a good guy now. You can do a lot of exposition there without it feeling like a lot of exposition. So I do think that in Endgame's re-release, we will see a scene, perhaps a scene from Doomsday, because that's what they've been doing. All of these post-credit scenes we've seen thus far, like the one in Thunderbolts and the one in First Steps, those are scenes from Doomsday. They're actual scenes in Doomsday. So I do think that we are going to see a scene from Doomsday put into Avengers Endgame, whether it be cut into the film or in the post-credit scene. And I think it's going to be Loki, Steve Rogers, maybe some Fantastic Four, setting all that up, setting up Avengers Doomsday. And it sounds freaking awesome. I'm so excited. But I would love to hear your thoughts. What scene do you guys think that we could potentially see in the Avengers Endgame re-release from Doomsday? Let me know down in the comments below. And thank you so much for that question, Collin. All right.